Hey everyone, Dan here. Before we get into it, if you enjoy these videos, please hit the like and subscribe button. And keep in mind that these are my own thoughts, opinions, and ideas. These are not meant to be, nor should you take them as investment or trading advice in any way, shape, or form. Do your own due diligence, put in the work for yourself, and make your decisions based on that. Enjoy. All right, folks, here we are right at market close on Thursday, February 22nd. We're going to take a look at Rivian today. So Rivian got absolutely slaughtered after earnings. Right after earnings, the slaughter started. And I thought we'd come in today and see where it may catch some relief, where it might get a little bounce potential. I don't know if that bounce could be anything substantial, meaning could it last for a while? Obviously, there could be some bear flags put in, and that could look a little bit bouncy. So we'll have to see how these things take shape, but I just wanted to talk about levels first and foremost and get sort of a bearing on those things. Now, obviously, it left a big gap here now. This gap, it would get into it at about, or sorry, it would get into it at about 12.25. It would fill it at about 15.18. So huge gap for a stock of this price. Obviously, it was down over 25% today. I mean, it even has a gap still to fill up here that it would get into at about 21.94, and it would fill it at about 23.10. So, yeah, pretty significant on both fronts. So levels wise, basically levels in the gap. Luckily, it's been through this price range before. So I was able to put in some levels there. So obviously we have one here at 12.08. That's the nearest resistance level in. If it can overcome that, 12.88, 13.99, and then 15.09. Now some of these have some pretty big jumps, right? Especially like 14 to 15 bucks and the 12.88 to 13.99. Like those are huge leaps percentage-wise. So there's going to be some more granular levels that are in there, but I tried to pick out what I felt were the strongest, most significant ones without cluttering up the chart too much. Now, on the other end of the spectrum, this purple that you're looking at, these are potential extension levels, so extending beyond the current drop. I did the best I could to try to pull in some potential, so these would be obviously potential support levels. So the question is, can that take shape or not? So I have to zoom out quite a bit here to get 3 of these levels in, but 1033 would be the nearest in potential support level, 973, and then 914. If it gets down to or below, those levels and folks are interested, I'd be happy to come in and take another look. But, in the meantime, it's just gap, and the question is going to be, is it going to do something that looks V-shaped? Is it going to do something that's, puts in a bear flag here and there, but just continues its path downward? Is it going to have something like this, where it's just this cascade of red candles that results in an even more significant and sustained drop? I don't know, but I thought we could at least have some levels in mind where it may catch either some support or resistance and just be able to see what the price action does if and when it hits those levels. Now, in the think or swim side of things, we had, the setup that you want to see, which is price pinned to the mid-range of the channel, and it's triggering heading into earnings on the TTM squeeze indicator. And that certainly delivered this time around. So it was putting in that exact action, and then we got this huge move down today. Now, the tricky part, of course, with the TTM squeeze indicator is when it's triggering and firing, first of all, it can be a misfire. Nothing could happen, right? It could trigger and fire, and basically nothing happens, and it was a bust. It was no indicator is 100%, right? So it's going to fail sometimes. But even if it does call out a move, you don't necessarily know which way it's going. You might have some hints one way or the other, but until it starts to move, you really don't know. And so here, there wasn't anything indicating it's got to go down. Obviously that's been the recent trend. It's caught under this red wave cloud, but this could have obviously resulted in a trigger and fire and a huge bump up out of the upper bound of the channel. So here's where we are. And so that fire is going to continue to play out. Now, whether there comes any pushback or not, like I said, I don't know. Obviously, right now it's way out of the lower bound of the channel. At some point, we would look for it to re-engage with the channel and want to see what it does with that. Here, when it was out of the lower bound of the channel and it re-engaged, it pushed off and treated the red wave cloud as resistance. That's often where we would expect there to be more bearish momentum to need to exhaust. However, this time around, it was able to just sort of sidestep its way into the channel again, and that's when it ended up at the mid-range and triggering and firing heading into and post earnings. So will it do something similar this time around? What will be sort of the strength? What will be the bullish scenario that could bring buyers in, that could push it into the channel? Or does it interact with the channel and use the lower bound or the red wave cloud as resistance and just need to expend more and more bearish momentum before it finally hits some sort of a bottom where the bulls step in and either stabilize the price or regain some of those losses. But because this channel is dynamic, the price, as long as it's sitting outside of the channel, is going to pull it toward it. And so even if the price continues to recede, at some point it could just drag the channel down enough that it interacts with it regardless, even if it doesn't have a significant movement upward. So that's just sort of a wait and see sort of situation as far as I'm concerned. Just need to see what it does when it interacts with it, and it may be quite a while before it does, depending on these next few moves in the coming days and weeks. But for now, these are the levels that I'm going to look at, down to 973 and up to 1509. We'll see what the coming days and weeks bring. So if you were holding some puts on earnings, congrats. I hope that those worked out for you. And sorry to any bulls that are watching this who may be having a tough day today. All right, folks, I hope that your trading week has been going well. And as always, I appreciate you watching, and I will see you in the next video.